today. Recovery Monday. I've got a vet, and I've got a vet. We'll see how that works out today live. It is the 11th day of the 11th month of the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. It's when we tell what our life was like, what happened, and what our life is like now, following a 12-step program of recovery for life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Sometimes that's alcoholism. Sometimes it's drug abuse. Sometimes it's the emotional pain of suffering from dysfunctional parents or families or family members. These shows are not aimed at those who suffer. These programs are aimed at you because you know someone. It is your son you will hear described today. It is your father. It is your brother. It is your workmate. It may be your pastor. But somehow something will be said today which will give you a little nugget of wisdom that will help you understand why someone you love is in such turmoil and struggle. Today we have two special guests. The one that you'll hear from the least today is Army Brad. Army Brad is one of my best friends, and he's on here today because it's Veterans Day. Now, when Lila told me she had a vet coming in today to be on Recovery Monday, I thought, perfect. It's Veterans Day. And then she sent me a text to her earlier today that said, oh, no, he's not that kind of vet. He's an animal vet. So Brad is here to represent those who we want to absolutely thank. Were you in church yesterday to stand up and receive recognition?
I was at my uncle's 70th birthday
for
the weekend, and that was in Chicago, so I will watch it tonight, and maybe I'll stand up at home and do it 24 hours or 36 hours late. So.
Pastor Mike honored all of the vets that come to our church, and we appreciate that. And if you're a vet out there, thank you. And not just a empty thank you. Thank you. The thing that I can say the most, which is the most honest and humbling I can give you, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. What you've done, You've signed over your life. It's a blank check for the country to take your life. At any given moment, they choose to send you into this battle, that disaster, this situation. I wouldn't do it. So thank you. Hopefully I'm doing something in my life that serves you, because I sure appreciate how you've served us. Lila Stafford is our co-host, as she always is, with Powell CDC. And our guest today is Doug. And Doug is the animal veterinarian. And we got to back up. You're a big deal. I mean, you don't have a little place on the side of the road out in the country where people bring you ducks and geese and kittens and puppies. You're like a major league vet, right?
Well, Mac, I'm a swine specialist.
Okay.
And I work for an animal health company, and I do travel the Midwest and help pork producers generate a good, healthy, quality source of protein. Pork chops.
Have you ever given birth to pigs? have you ever helped birth pigs?
Oh, I certainly have. Yes, that's that event happened when I was 15, and my mentor on the phone told me how to do it and sent me out there to do it by myself, and that's when I discovered I was going to become a veterinarian.
Well, let's talk about your story. Where do you come from? Where's mom and dad?
Well, yeah, our hometown was Fort Dodge, Iowa.
Okay.
So I'm a local boy here in the Midwest, and my dad was a carpenter and in the construction business. And back in the time now, that's a ways back. A lot of things have changed over time. But mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I came from a family of 4 children.
Okay.
And
brothers, sisters?
Yeah, 2 brothers, and they both passed now, and I have a sister that's still living.
Okay.
Did you live on a farm? Why were you out delivering
Yeah, that's very interesting. My father was born and raised on a farm, and wanted to always get back there, but the frustration of ever pulling that kind of funding together to get that done, nothing was passed on. So when I was 15, we moved out of town onto a little hobby farm place, and my gift to start some chores and responsibility was he bought a sow and she had 9 pigs.
Oh.
And so that's how my hog operation got started. And
Were you excited about that?
oh, tremendously.
Oh.
Yeah, to see and then it was a Sunday morning when the local veterinarian came out and did the vaccination and castration and processed those pigs. And that Sunday morning, I knew for sure that's what I was going to do.
Oh.
So, and just, back then it was pretty straightforward. Here's your curriculum at school and study hard and keep studying hard. And that's the way it's been.
All right. So when did alcohol, because one of your primary struggles in life was with alcohol.
That's right.
You would identify yourself as alcoholic.
Yes.
All right. When did alcohol raise its ugly head in your life?
Well, it's been a progression. When did it raise its ugly head? Well, in the family. You talked about dysfunctional families.
Sure.
My father could never admit to his problem with alcohol, but it did affect the family. So I was raised in, quote, a dysfunctional family, but as I've grown and as we travel through life, we're not unique when we say we came from a dysfunctional family.
All families are dysfunctional.
Yeah, I think that's something that people have to accept. Yeah, I agree with you.
The family of the Cosbys, or the Father Knows Best, or who's the
Leave It to Beaver.
Leave It to Beaver. That's
Sure.
That doesn't exist anywhere, but in our minds.
Sure. Yeah, Wonderland.
We're always striving for it, and then it makes us feel horrible when we don't live up to it.
But it's not achievable.
Yeah.
It's not.
They don't tell you that, though.
I don't want to go down a rabbit trail here, but I've been in the media all my life, and what the media portrays, if it is entertainment, is not achievable. It's never achievable to have anything that bad, that good, that sweet, that wonderful.
Well, you can
That's why I like doing talk, because we talk about the real stuff.
You can do it for 30 minutes like they do on TV,
Yeah.
but you have 23 more in that one day alone. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we see different. I'm getting back to and thinking about the when part, Mac. I saw it in the family, and so I look back now. I can see it in hindsight, the isolation that occurred, my mother's embarrassment. With what would happen at different functions, and so that the family isolation that came about, we couldn't go places, we couldn't do things because she knew what was inevitable. He was going to become uncontrollable. For me, my progression started later in life. I used alcohol for social purposes, and I can remember taking a job and saying, do I have to drink to keep this job? And, oh, no, of course not. It was a time when I had kind of come to the idea that said, maybe I'm going to quit and see what happens. And so was not in any program of support or recovery at the time, but made the mistake. The boss made the mistake of accusing me of, you're not being sociable. Come on, have an O'Doul's. There's as much alcohol in an orange as there is in an O'Doul's. Well, that's not true. So please beware of those.
That is a slippery slide. I see people starting with that, and then it just leads into more alcohol.
I know, Mac, I know that in my condition, the disease that I have, if I drink, it's going to kill me. So the ugliness started later in life. I got relocated. My wife was left back to sell the house, that sort of stuff, and to relocate with me later. And in that period of about 4 to 5 months, I was back here in Iowa. We were moving back from Georgia, and hooked up with a nephew, and we were having a great time. But the drinking became very, very excessive, and progression again. That it was unsafe, and that's when I discovered I needed some help. I needed to get another solution rather than alcohol. So,
so in high school, it was just beer parties?
No, I never drank until I was in college.
And, all right, but so it was just socially, just having fun.
Right.
We had never a DUI.
Nope. I never had a DUI. I always told people I never lost a job, I never lost my wife, I never lost my house or anything. But I have to go back, and when I say that I never lost a job, I believe that my mannerisms, my behavior wasn't proper. It was what I was raised with. Everything's black and white. No matter what happens, the truth is the truth. But if it's going to hurt somebody or if it's going to be damaging, well, then wait. You don't have to just, truth isn't always right. It's the truth, but there's a timing for it. And
just because you have the right to do it doesn't make it right.
Right.
Just because you have the right to say it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, my father-in-law used to say, hey, he's just as dead being dead right as he was being dead wrong. So, that's a matter of other people, thinking of others. Yeah. My recovery program has allowed me to start having some empathy.
Okay, I'm going to ask you two questions. The first question is, how did consuming alcohol impact your behavior? And my second question is going to be, how did being an alcoholic alter your behavior? So one was while you're consuming, the other is while you're sober, before you quit drinking.
One of the things that happened in my life, me personally, an event had occurred that was very shameful. And I used alcohol as a drug to deaden, to stop the senses, to stop the emotion, to stop the feelings. So there was this shame, there was this guilt trip that I didn't want to think about, and if I drank, I would numb that feeling or that memory or those events. So then when I get to the alcoholic part, that situation is that you're drinking more and more and more and more, and at that period of time early on when it was numbing the sensation, numbing the feelings, it was helpful, but at the end, it didn't work. I mean, Mac, in my case, I was in a public park and I had a fifth of Crown Royal that was half gone in one hand and a half empty can of beer in the other. And I came to the realization there's not enough. Mm-hmm. So at that point in time, there's another very serious issue of alcoholism. And, God and nature both abhor suicide. But in my case, I came to that very, very dark spot, and it happened very quickly when I realized I have no solution anymore. The only solution is to end this struggle, to get it over with. And thankfully, that didn't happen. I'm here today to make sure people know there's other solutions and other ways to behave, other ways to be trained, because life is worth living. And I want to do, I heard in a program one time or some comment about finishing strong. And I've got a life to finish. And there's tremendous rewards and value in the aspect of finishing strong. Just spent a weekend with my grandchildren. I didn't drink. They didn't see me behave. Now, was my behavior perfect? Oh no, the kids, we're not accustomed to having a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old running around the house. It just
Doug,
different.
did your father ever seek help?
No. That's a very good point. Part of my recovery is becoming humble, accepting the fact, and a surrender. Another part of surrendering to this situation that says, "Hey, wait a minute, I'm not in control here. I can't control this any longer." In his case, he could never admit that. In his case, it was all willpower. Alcoholics. If you say alcoholic, you're just weak.
Okay, we're going to continue with Doug's story. He's a veterinarian who suffers from alcoholic. Brad is our vet who we're honoring, and I thank you for listening. to KTIA.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. It's 21 minutes after the hour on this Veterans Day 2013, and our in-house veteran today is Army Brad. Served 17 years?
22 active and another 9 reserve. So I have 30 for pay.
31 years.
Yeah.
So you retired as, I think I once gave you the rank of colonel, didn't I?
And I would take that if you can get the VA to change my pay. I'll be forever in your debt, literally. So,
but you're truly a patriot.
Wow.
I mean, what you did for our country runs deep into your bloodline. It is not just something you decided to do.
Truthfully, when I started, I had no intentions of staying with it, but it was something that I loved so much that I was sucked into it. When I was in college, I did it just for the money for school, which was totally the wrong reason, and all the things that we'd tell people as far as service to country, the shared hardship, and I ended up doing it full time, and only regretted that I didn't do it full time sooner.
So you kind of grew into a patriot. Started out as a guy who just thought it was a good job, but grew into a patriot.
Yes.
Fair? Okay.
Well, I as far as back as I can remember, I was running around with, if I didn't have a toy gun, I had a stick, and all my friends were doing it. And then I was actually getting paid to do it, and got extra money to help me pay for college. And you had a part-time job where you got to rappel out of helicopters and slide down ropes and shoot blanks at each other.
So you're a patriot.
It was
Because at some point you started defending the words of those people that spoke against this country. That's a patriot.
When I was 17, I didn't get that part of it, but then later on I realized how important the oath that we took to do that was, and then I was a patriot then.
All right. Doug, our vet, as in moo and piggy, and ma, is our guest today on Restoring Hope, which is Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. Of course, Lila's in the house, and we're being produced by the incredible Reverend Ryan. The question I was trying to get out of you, which I think I asked incorrectly. What was your behavior like when you weren't drinking, but you hadn't sobered up?
Okay. It's all or nothing. It was black or white. There was no gray. Analytical. My job, I was a diagnostician. I was called...
You were a who to what?
I had to help people with their animal disease problems. I was called out to solve problems. There's a sick cow, a sick horse, a sick pig. So my job was to come up with the right diagnosis, the right treatments, and to save those animals. My career started 40-some years ago, and there's been a lot of change in the industry since then. But farming was a family operation and smaller scale than today. So that one cow was very important back then, or that one sow. So just a difference of economics. The behavior part, my alcoholism was of the binge variety. I didn't drink every day. You couldn't have maintained a practice that way.
Right.
So there were certain, weekends that you would, be able to sneak a day off or whatever, or have a party, a New Year's Eve party or whatever. But, I want to share something else about the profession. When I was, as a food animal veterinarian, I'm in the countryside. Now, there's not going to be any place you can go to find more hospitable people than the farmers of the Midwest and their wives. They're very caring, loving, and sharing people. And, if you just saved a guy's cow or saved his horse, they wanted to celebrate. Here, Doc, have a drink. And so it kind of went along with, well, being gracious, you accepted. And so there was that angle that would trigger some of these events. Some of these binges would take off from there. So binge alcoholism is harder on your body, maybe harder on your family. I don't know. They don't know. Your reaction can be anger. Before I was in a recovery program, I couldn't control anger. And Mac, the one thing...
Sober or drunk?
Sober or drunk.
Okay. That's what I was looking for.
Okay. My anger was, I was a flash. I would just be angry instantly. But I've come to find out what that's about. That anger comes from fear. I was afraid of being found out. I was afraid of being, of sharing with anybody what really had happened. What was I afraid? I was afraid of everything. And doing great, I had to be. The other thing that happens with alcoholism or alcoholics is they have this controlling nature. We talked about some of the controlling issues. We talked about some of the instant anger situation coming from fear. But the other thing is this perfectionism. Constantly my father was this perfectionist. I could never do anything good enough. And there's that self-worth that gets torn down is you're never good enough. You're never good enough. You're trying harder, and it's never enough. And that's a tremendous struggle. And what you come to the verge of, Mac, is you come to this verge of mental instability, if you will. There's that aspect to it that says, am I all right? Am I okay? Am I like everybody else? Am I normal? And so there's a situation that says now, today in a recovery program, one of my solutions over alcoholism is doing things differently. I've learned in work that my first thoughts as an alcoholic, my first thought is usually wrong.
What did that comedian keep saying?
First thought wrong. He had T-shirts that said that.
Yeah. First thought wrong. First thought wrong.
Well, Mac, that's been a life-changing message for me.
Me too.
To have.
Yeah, me too. As a talk show host, that's tough to handle too. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Because
first thing came to my mind. I can't say that. That's wrong.
So it's good that. I'm glad that it's recognizable.
You just described my husband before he was in the program as well. Everything you named, everything you said, and actually a lot of me too. I think it's just traits that alcoholics have.
Yeah,
and we do have solutions for them too in the program to learn how to deal with all of that, how to deal with life.
Yes, and there's a good point. Now today, I'm dealing with life on life's terms. I'm not running. I'm not hiding behind a bottle. I'm not drowning it. I'm facing it. I'm accepting it. There's the idea about acceptance, or we talked earlier about surrender. Okay, I have to surrender to this disease, or it's going to kill me. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Alcoholism is a very deadly disease, and I hope that message comes across that it's not something. It's not a game. It's if you play it as a game, it's a deadly game. So, the acceptance. Nothing happens by accident in my world today. It's not a coincidence. It's not me having bad luck.
So there's a creator,
there's
higher power involved.
Yes, that's right. And I have to turn it over. I can't do it myself. And so I choose to turn it over to my higher power, which I choose to call God. And there's prayer. I use it routinely, and it gets me through. I have to have help. It's when I said earlier about my father and the weakness. It's willpower. You don't have to drink. Well, no, I don't have to drink. I can now do other things, and there's things that I'm now using. One of them, as I mentioned to Lila, the fellowship. There's a very important aspect of recovery, and that is that I'm not alone. I never have to be alone again, because I can reach out, and there's others out there that will help me with their experience, strength, and hope to go through life on life's terms. So that's my goal. My goal is to share and to also, in the sense of taking, I need that help. So I have to take that help. I have to humble myself to grasp it, to accept it.
Doug is our guest today. The only reason he doesn't share his last name is he's certainly not trying to be anonymous. There are just many people with his last name, and he doesn't want someone to mistake someone out there who is a normie. There's a term in a 12-step program. A normie. Who's a normie? Well, if you don't have an alcohol, drug, addiction problem, if you don't have a problem with pharmaceuticals, if you don't have a problem with pornography or anger or emotional distress or any hurt, habit, or hang-up, then we think you're a normie. Who was the last normie that I met who was really a normie? Only in my prayers. All right, Doug.
I was just going to say, you just eliminated everybody I know.
Yep. But I have to remember this isn't a religious show, so I had to stop before going too far. Because for those of you watching this show or are in early treatment, a God of your understanding is the only God that is required. And perhaps that God of your understanding is Lila. Perhaps your higher power is a book, is a doorknob. Perhaps the thing that you surrender to is your dog. I have a very, very good friend of mine who cannot grasp, and I really love this man, but he cannot grasp anything beyond himself, what he can see and touch. So his higher power, what he surrenders to, is a garbage can. And when he finds things that he can't deal with, and he just needs to get rid of them, and the anxiety of humanness takes over, he writes it on a piece of paper and throws it to his higher power.
I tell people that it can be good, orderly direction, and many times it's just a group, and together the group knows more than I do alone. And that's the basic thought with this, is that I got myself into this problem, and I need help getting out. I need another way of thinking. And so a group can help me with that because they have different thoughts than I do alone.
Good point. Because this is not a religious program. This is a spiritual program.
Right.
And that spirituality simply means to be able to look beyond yourself. Because when you're in the midst of an addiction, and that addiction might be anger. Are you an angry person? Do you seem to snap at people? Is the lady behind the counter at Hy-Vee just not a person? They're just an employee, and so you can treat them any way you want? I know people like that, and they're good people. But when someone waits on them, serves them, they see them only as someone who is required to serve them. When you gain a spiritual program, you realize that you are the least in the world and that the problems that you have can easily be cast off to a greater power. And again, I love my guy who has the garbage can. I mean, I try to introduce him to my greater power all the time, and he just can't get it. But when he's upset about something, and he's been in the program longer than I have, he'll write it down on a piece of paper, rip it up, throw it in the garbage can, and he's free. And I'm kind of jealous of that. That's all you got to do. You don't have to forgive anybody. You don't have to look for redemption. No, that's all I got to do. Just write it down.
A lot of people do that with a God box.
Yeah. Yeah,
same
absolutely.
idea.
All right. It is 34 minutes after the hour. When we come back, I want to know what happened. We've heard what Doug's life is like. I mean, he's a professional. He's a highly educated man who cares greatly about this earth and the creatures that crawl on it. But he consumed alcohol, sometimes at a high level, sometimes at a binge. It created anger and problems for his family and friends. So what happened? And then later, what his life is like now. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. On KTIA, powered by webcast1live.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
22 minutes before the hour on this 11th day of the 11th month of the 13th year of the second decade of this earth. We appreciate, or second decade, no, it'd be second century. Yeah, we're the 21st century.
Millennium.
Second millennium. Yeah. I knew 2 was fitting in there somewhere. Army Brad is here today to represent all those vets, and if you're one of them, thank you. If you have taken your service in the military and turned it into society service, such as an EMT or a policeman or a fireman or a sheriff, thank you. The work you do for us is work that I couldn't do. And I also, if it's okay, I know it's not veterans. I know these aren't veterans, but I also want to thank teachers. Whenever I think of what my youngest daughter was like in school, I always need to go up and hug a teacher because what they put up with, I can't. So I thank you also as a teacher as well as a vet who served this country so eloquently and so bravely. And so without any, I don't know, I couldn't have done it. I just couldn't have written Uncle Sam a blank check and said, if you need to take my life, take my life. I don't know. I couldn't do that. So thank you very much. We honor you. Doug is our special guest. What your life was like. So what happened? Life's just cruising along. You're not drinking every day because it would have impacted your job. You got a high-level job as a veterinarian with some major companies. But something happened that made you say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Did you get an OWI?
No, Mac. It was an attempted suicide. Attempted to the point that that's that night in the park where I have the half a fifth of Crown Royal left and a half a can of beer. And I'd had my permit to carry, so I had a gun in the Suburban, and I drove off away from the park and the party. And once you've tasted gun oil, you'll never get that taste out of your memory. And so we say that, it's things like milliseconds and millimeters of time and distance, and I just knew that I'm so lucky that because I know there's some people that just accidentally do pull the trigger, and I didn't, and so I surrendered. I gave up. I was defeated.
I want to stop you for just a
All right.
second.
Okay.
I want to thank you for making me remember what that tastes like. I forgot about that. Thank you. I mean, in a way, no, bad for you, but in a way, thank you.
Yeah.
But you said something that I don't get. Accidentally pulled that trigger.
Well, you can have the gun pointed at yourself, and you can be looking at the barrel, you can be looking at the sight, but when you put the barrel in your mouth, then you have to take your finger or your thumb and pull the trigger. People have done it with their toe. So when as far as having the barrel in your mouth, Mac, there's some things going on in your mind that says, this is just about over, but you're still thinking, your mind is still working. And I didn't. I took it out of my mouth and said, I gotta surrender. I gotta do what my dad didn't do. I have to admit defeat. I have to admit this is not willpower. There's something else. It's not so bad that I can't go find a way around it. I don't want to die.
Do you think you would have had the gun up to your mouth if you weren't drunk?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I forget the percentage, but it's a high percentage of people that do commit suicide that are drunk. Sure. Or using. So.
No, Lila, I think that's a very good point because I've been through education, gun safety. You don't point a gun at anybody unless you intend to use it. I mean, they're always loaded guns, et cetera, et cetera. So gun safety, no, I'm quite certain that the despondency, if you will, or the depression, alcohol as a stimulant, no, it's a depressant.
Absolutely.
And for sure that, but again, the millisecond of time,
yeah.
I know now from that experience, Mac, that I believe people that have died, oops, it's just a oops, but it's over.
But only God knows it was an oops.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah.
So what revelation overcame you? It wasn't chicken. It wasn't fear. You didn't decide not to do something. You decided to be proactive and do something. What is that something?
He said surrender.
It's surrender, but the attraction of my spouse who had gone and found help, and I saw a change in her. I saw hope. And so I knew there was something out there. But again, it was something that in my upbringing, in my childhood, had been scorned, had been associated with weakness. And so the truth is how strong she was. The truth is the strength that she portrayed in dealing with this disease and finding other solutions. And other solutions are basically just other thought patterns, thinking a different way, learning how to change your mind.
Bingo, 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 ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
That's it. Right there. You just said it. That's
Okay.
brilliant. You have to decide that there is, in fact, another way of thinking. And
Yes.
you may not have the tools to reach that, but you're going to reach out to somebody who has.
Right.
Question for you, Lila, okay, off chat. I'm 10 weeks sober today, but today I'm having a rotten day. Everything wrong in my life is poking at me in my head. At what point does the feeling of letting go happen?
Letting go.
Yeah, he wants to surrender. At what
When
point?
things get bad enough, just what Doug was saying, when things get bad enough and you just go, I can't do this anymore. And I'm going to have to turn it over to other people and to a higher power because I can't do it. But to change what Doug was saying, changing your mindset. If you're sitting at home, you've got too much time on your hands, you will, this is a disease, an obsession of the mind. We will continue to say the same thing over and over in our head, and it's a spiral down. So I would suggest to the person that was online, it's snowing today, if it's here in Des Moines, to go to a mall and walk around. Something to change how he's thinking. So he can be around other people, look in the windows, you just start thinking a different way. I think it's really important.
Okay, did you hear that?
Call somebody.
Yeah. You got phone numbers.
Call a friend.
Call somebody. I can't talk faith, can I? Okay. You have to find a way to shut that voice off in your head, because that voice does not have control of your head unless you give that voice control. I used to go through this. I'm a lousy father. I'm a lousy husband. I'm a lousy dad. I'm a lousy employee. I'm a lousy. Who was telling me that? Wasn't me. It was somebody who wanted to bring me down. And alcohol fed that somebody. That something. that demon that said I'm lousy. You've got to be proactive and reach out to the higher power that you have in your life and say, that's not your voice. What do you say to me? Am I getting too religious?
No, but I also think it's like if you can go to some 12-step meetings so that you're hearing the voice of the people in there rather than your own addictive voice.
Absolutely, because those people will tell you that you are loved, that you are an amazing father, that you are an amazing son, that you are an amazing brother.
Yeah, but you know what? I remember when I first heard that, they're going, we love you until you can love yourself. And I'm just wanting to stick my finger down my throat. It was like, how can you love me? I don't love I didn't get it at all. But you hear it enough and it's like, well, maybe they do.
And Mac, you had talked.
Hold on to your thought. We're going to come back. And when we come back, I want to know what your life's like now. Okay. What you've been sober how long? 5 years?
9.
9. Wow. Good for you. Doug's story. What life's like now when we come back on KTIA, Iowa.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
10 before the top, Salem Radio Network News will update you on today's news, and then Pastor Michael Mudloff with True Blue. Our guest today is not only the gentleman who's so eloquently and so humbly shared his story with you, Doug, it's also our 36-year vet?
30? No. I had 30 years combined. I had 22 active.
All right, 30-year vet. 5-star General Army Brad, who we want to thank him and everyone like him who was
Keeps
a service to our country at any time. And I expect the VA to up those checks to 5-star General status. Just tell them Max sent you. Lila Stafford from Powell CDC. Ryan, thank you for producing. And this cute little woman to my right who's playing with her card game there, who's probably the most important person in the room, which is your bride, Kathy. All right, who won't talk? Okay, so what's your life like now? It was terrible. It was to the point where you tasted gun oil. Oh, Doug, I can't believe you brought that memory back to me, but you are exactly right. Once you've tasted gun oil in your mouth, thank God you can remember it the rest of your life, because if you can't, that means you're dead. So what's your life like now? You've been sober 9 years.
Well, my life is getting happier every day. I'm having joyous times. I have hope. I have hope that I'm going to finish strong, as I said earlier in the program. This finishing is critical. The aspect of helping others, my profession. I've been in the service profession forever, and that's fine. It's been a wonderful, wonderful life and career. But now I have another angle of helping the people instead of the animals, helping my fellow human beings with a very, very disastrous and deadly disease, alcoholism. And one of the things we haven't done a lot in this program is talk about the insanity. You talked about the voices in your head, the repetition. There's those bad thoughts. There's that committee that's working on you constantly, and you're not abnormal. That's normal. But there's also this training that says the conditioning that when that thought comes up, that first thought being wrong, the conditioning to go, oh, wait a minute, I got to rethink. And I might have to ask somebody. I don't have to do this all by myself. I am not all-powerful. I am not God myself. I have to turn things over. So I want to make one other point. My life today, I'm I've learned the difference between religious upbringing and religion in my life and becoming spiritual, allowing myself to be a conduit, to be someone that other people can see the change. We talked about fellowship earlier in some of these programs, that the fact that you get to see people change in their recovery. Their skin changes, their color changes, their voice changes, their thoughts change, their vocabulary changes. It's unbelievable what you can see happen as people stop drinking, get healthy, use the solutions and the mechanisms that Lila and her programs and her help at Powell, all those tools that are there available. Lots of good books, lots of good daily books. I think things that are new habits that we have to learn to battle this disease and those thoughts. So again, I want to shy away from the word insanity, but in a sense, that's actually what you come to accept, that your behavior was insane. It wasn't good enough to have one drink or two drinks. I had to drink the whole bottle. And that's, normal people don't do that. So my life today is, I understand. I'm doing just fine with Diet Cokes and coffee. I'm very successful in my life, in my business career. And
in your marriage.
And in my marriage.
In your family as a father.
Yes.
I mean, I've met your children, or one of your children.
Yes. And Mac, that's something to be very thankful for, those relationships that were damaged by alcohol.
Yep.
Rekindling those, regaining that trust and that love from the family members is, you can't put a price tag on it. So the value of finding alternatives to alcohol are very, very numerous for me. And I'm looking forward to more power. I'm looking forward to more happiness and more joy. I want to see those grandchildren. I want to see my children be successful and happy, and I can contribute that way. I believe, and I'm confident. I'm not trying to be cocky, but I now trust the training that I'm getting and the education that I'm getting and the fellowship. I'm trusting from the people that are ahead of me, that they can guide me on. And I've watched it in the new people coming along, the changes in their life.
And what about the lives that you're helping to change? And not just the ones you can touch, but the grandchild, and I'm serious about this, the grandchild that will never know a drunken grandpa.
Sure.
Because you helped get him sober before that grandchild was ever born. The wife of the grandchild, who, if you hadn't come along to help grandpa, would have been the fourth generation of emotionally abusive people who drank too much alcohol. We never think about those unnamed soldiers that were saved because you stood up and said, no more.
Right.
My grandson will never see me drunk. His children will never see me drunk.
That's right.
Those are the people that give me goosebumps.
Yep. Me too, Mac.
That's
we can be blessed.
Yeah. Because one of the great things about a 12-step program is when we're done, we've just begun. The 12th step challenges us to reach out and help other people. We don't get to walk across some stage with a tassel I get to turn to the other side and a flat cap and a piece of paper that says I done good. You're asked to stand up, lace up, boot up, and go out there and do it for somebody else. And that's the greatest thing about this program, the service to others. Doug, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mac. Thank you, Lila. Brad,
Thoroughly
thank you for your
enjoyed
service.
you being here.
No problem, sir.
Appreciate it. Kathy, you want to come in and say something nice about your husband? Oh, I see. Okay. Lila, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Everybody remember that if something on this program made you think that there's hope for someone that you thought might be hopeless or your hope had run out for them, it's Powell CDC. I mean, it's local. You've seen her face. You've heard us talk about it. You've met David Captain. You've met, who's the cute little lady that I know? Dee. You've met these people. One of the reasons we do this show is to make them real. They're not little men in white coats who come running in and strap you down and haul you away. They are people who have been there, been where you are, and are ready and so willing and so wanting to help. Powell CDC, a part of Unity Point, and we appreciate them bringing you this program. every single day. And for those of you who are church people, who don't think that something like this ever impacts your church, I'm going to tell you something. 10 people in a row at church. First 2 people are alcoholics. Second one abuses drugs. Third one is a person who's into pornography. The fourth and fifth are probably having some type of lust or even physical adulterous affairs. And the other 3 are praying to have a greater relationship with their God of their understanding. We're all just human. We all need someone. Look out and be that person for that someone. Have a great day.